Hello, welcome, and thank you for watching this month's Tarot Talk. I'm intuitive reader Bryan Stafford from Stafford Tarot, and today's Tarot Talk topic is going to be about talking with spirits with cards. Now, in order to give some time for some viewers to join me, I'm just going to spend a little moment talking about what's new with Stafford Tarot, and I'll let you know about some of the upcoming events to look forward to. And then I'll get right into that Tarot Talk topic. And then finally, I'll be offering 6 free short distant readings during this podcast, during this live broadcast to anyone who shows interest in the chat during. So at any time, if you just type interested in the chat and send it out, I'll be watching for those messages coming up on the screen, as well as if there are any questions about anything that I'm talking about or during the topic discussion, or you feel free to ask questions during the readings as well. Now, if you're watching this from my website and you're interested to see the sample readings, just feel free to skip ahead in the video about 20-30 minutes, as I will be offering those 6 free short distant readings later in the broadcast. So to give some time for some to join us, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what's new. At Stafford Tarot, I am always keeping the website up to date, staffordtarot.com. On that website, you can read background information about me, you can read testimonials and frequently asked questions, and you can learn about the decks that I use in my readings. I have them all. Each deck is listed there with all of the information, including the creator, the artist, the designers, all their information as well. Also, the titles and descriptions of the decks are available if anyone's interested to look up those. They are purchasable out in metaphysical stores as well as anywhere that sells tarot decks. So check it out if you're interested. And the many blog entries that I have on my website is meant to be helpful. They give tips, tricks, and advice on doing tarot readings. And I am very excited to be announcing on my website my brand new podcast called Multi-Dimensional Discussions. The first episode will be airing soon, so check that out. It will be announced on my website, and all of the episodes will be accessible from there, staffordtarot.com/podcast. So what are some of the upcoming events to look forward to? Well, first of all, I just did a recent oracle pull for the eclipse that just passed. If you're interested in how that may help give some insight about the energies that everyone may be feeling lately, check that out on my website. I am really excited to be a part of the Mystic Night Market hosted by Luna Events Canada on Saturday, April 13th, 2024. The market will be open from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's going to be in St. Catharines, Ontario at the Holiday Inn. Then I'm going to be doing my monthly free draw on Monday, April 15th, 2024. You have until about 10 a.m. that day to get involved in the draw. How do you get involved? You literally comment on, like, or share any post that mentions the draw, including this video. Anybody who requests to be in the draw will automatically be included. The draw happens on that Monday at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, roughly. I literally take all the names, put them in a hat, and draw out names. I do try to pick I keep the ratio of winners about 1 in 5, and so I do that by selecting, if I get more than 5 winners, if I get more than 5 participants, I select 2 winners. If I get more than 10 participants, I select 3 winners, and I do that all the way up, keeping the ratio 1 to 5. So every 5 participants, I select 1 winner for each 5. So any more than 5, I'll select 2, etc. And that has been great to give people more of a chance to receive those free readings. There's many reasons why somebody might want to request a free reading from me. Perhaps they haven't had a tarot reading or that experience before, or sometimes it's good just to see if the right reader is right for you, depending on the style of reading that they provide or the options available to you during a reading. All that information is available on my website if you're interested. Then, what's happening next? After that, I have my full moon oracle card pull again on April 23rd, 2024. So watch for that. I usually put a posting on my social media, but all of those oracle description readings are available on my website. I'm very excited to be involved in the Art of Trust Day Retreat hosted by Uniquely Pure on Saturday, April 27th, 2024. The retreat should run from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that day. The retreat is taking place in Bellwood, Ontario at the Uniquely Pure Studio. Now, if we don't get enough participants for that event, we may change the date. So please reach out, check out the information on my website if you're interested. It's going to be a fantastic retreat. And included in that retreat is a group mediumship session with me. Check it out. All the details are available both on staffordtarot.com and Uniquely Pure's website and social media, uniquelypure.com. And then I have my very exciting Spirit Talk online event coming. Now, this is hosted by myself with Stafford Tarot, and it is a introduction to mediumship workshop. It's going to be happening on Tuesday, April 30th, 2024. The workshop's going to start about 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It may run for over an hour or so, depending on how many participants get involved. It's going to be a great workshop. I'm offering this workshop online for anyone who can't make it in person at the Witches Gathering Conference, where I'm also going to be offering this workshop. And that's my next event that I want to talk about, which is hosted by Luna Events Canada on Friday, May 3rd and Saturday, May 4th. On the Friday, the conference will run from 6 until 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on the Saturday, it'll run from 10 a.m. till 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's going to be a full day event. Check out both days if you really can. There's also going to be a market attached to that. Stafford Tarot's table will be at that market, and I personally will be facilitating the Introduction to Mediumship course workshop that's available. Check out those details, all available on my website as well as lunaeventscanada.com. And that is taking place at the Ancaster Fairgrounds at the Marriott Hall in Ancaster, Ontario. Then I have a new Moon Oracle poll coming on May 7th, 2024. So if you're interested in keeping up with those Oracle polls, check that out. And my next Tarot Talk Live event is going to take place on Tuesday, May 14th. Now, that Tarot Talk topic is going to be about setting up protections during reading sessions, or if you're expecting to have a difficult reading session, setting up some protections for yourself can be recommended, just to keep your mind at ease and in the right state of mind during and afterwards as well. So we're going to talk about that a little bit next time. But this Tarot Talk topic is going to be about communicating or talking with spirit with cards. Now, I'm going to get right into that Tarot Talk topic now, and the first thing I want to mention is that this Tarot Talk topic is a little different from a previous Tarot Talk topic that I gave in a previous episode a couple months ago called Mediumship with Cards. And the difference about this discussion versus that one is that discussion was more about decks that were set for mediumship and how to use specific decks within mediumship sessions. This is more of a general topic about communicating with spirit with cards, so not necessarily as direct as the previous topic. If you're interested in checking out that previous Tarot Talk topic, as well as many others, feel free to check it out. They're all available on my website, staffordtarot.com. I keep mentioning it, but it's such a great rabbit hole to fall down. If you're interested in tarot, I would recommend checking out my website. So with talking with spirit with tarot cards, there are different types of readings, different ways of doing it within readings, I should say. And so I'm just going to talk about the different ways that can be done. One of the ways is through dynamic readings. Now, the difference between a dynamic reading and a structured reading, a dynamic reading is there's no plan. It's just you pull a card with an intention, and then you create an intention, or you have an intention to pull out the next card, and then you have an intention to pull out the next card. So the cards that come out are kind of the reading is happening dynamically, versus a structured tarot reading, which has a specific spread usually that gets followed. So each card is designated to a position, and it's way more structured in that sense. So dynamic readings are often done with spirit sessions, simply because spirits tend to be unexpected. A lot of times we don't know what to expect from spirit communication. Now, it's really about reading energy for me. I'm an empath, and so I connect intuitively when I do these spirit sessions. There are different types of readers that connect in different ways and use different abilities in order to make those connections. And so the way that I do it is through an intuitive sense. So everything is interpreted by me in order to deliver the messages. So the way that I interpret the cards would depend on what I'm asking the cards from. And I can give an example. I did pull a card for myself earlier, and I was really fascinated by the card that came out, and it was the King of Cups. Now, my first initial question when I pulled out this card was, who's around me? And the the Cups came out. Now, for me, in my associations with this card, kings are often about fatherly figures, and cups are usually in tarot specific about emotions. So this could be some sort of emotional message of a fatherly figure, or it could be a fatherly figure from my past who I have an emotional connection with. So if I wanted to figure out further who that might be, say I have several fatherly figures. It doesn't have to be a birth father or an actual father. It can be anyone that I looked up to that might have been a masculine person. Well, right away I'm connecting to more how they passed away. I think that that's going to give me a hint as to who it might be. And this was somebody who really let themselves go. They had the ability to turn things around in their lives, and they didn't as they went towards their death. So this kind of narrows it down for me. I'm gonna have to pull one more card to make sure that I understand, and I'm really looking for where the impact was on me with this, and there was a loss involved. So for me, in this dynamic reading, as I'm pulling out cards and getting the messages based on the interpretations, I think I can narrow down more so who this is. This was someone close to me. This was someone that could have changed their fate and didn't. And then there was this loving fatherly energy. Now, I do have a namesake of a so-called fatherly figure that did pass away many years ago. I did look up to that individual, and that is who is coming to my mind as I look at these cards. I cannot ignore that. That's the interpretation that I've been given from this reading. And so I would automatically assume that that would be the person that I'm connecting with. And I could go further into the reading with that individual, but this is an example. I don't want to get too much into it. So an example of a structured reading would be more like the knowing ahead of time that I have a spread laid out, and the cards are all going to mean a specific intention, and there are only going to be a certain number of cards to fit into those positions in that spread, and there's no deviating from that format. So it's a little different, even though it's done sort of in a similar way. Now, with specific spreads used, a common way to do that is to automatically think in your head, say if it was a 5-card spread, The first card is going to, I mean, I'll go to a spread that I know for spirit communication. The first card spread is, the card in the spread is who the card might represent. As I sort of shown here in the previous dynamic reading, the second card would be like maybe how they pass. The third card could be the energy that they're in now. The fourth card could be like what lessons they learned in their life. The fifth card could be the advice for the sitter themselves. So if it was a personal reading, a self-reading for myself, I would be the sitter in my own reading. And then you look at how those 5 cards are connected to those specific messages instead of reading it dynamically. There's much more structure involved. I do both of those, but I prefer to do spirit communication dynamically. It comes across more clearly for me. Now, I have done structured mediumship readings, and I do offer them as mediumship sessions. And there are even specific decks designed for spirit mediumship. And I have shown this deck previously, but this is my spirit communication deck. It's called the Ethereal Compass. And it's very complicated to work with. It does get very in depth of a mediumship reading, but that's what they're designed for. And those are excellent for, I've had so many great readings from that, and so many unexpected spirits reach out to me and have that session be so impactful. And there are other readings as well, such as my past experiences deck, or my Sacred Destiny deck, or my Pagan deck is also really good for spirit mediumship. Just depends on who I'm connecting with and why I'm connecting with them. And there's so many more decks available out there. There's even decks specific to connecting with, like, getting messages from spirit. Each card would have a specific message on it, the detailed message of what you'd like to receive. And then you ask spirit to put the cards in the right order as you're shuffling to help you do it. And that is, then you pull the card that the spirit intended you to receive, and you receive that message. You can get some really beautiful mediumship cards and oracle decks available out there. If you are interested to try and do some of these types of readings for yourself, I do recommend having patience, taking time, and making sure that you're in the right state of mind before you begin. Some tips or tricks to help you get started would be to be clear as to why you want to communicate. What is your hope? What are you trying to achieve in your spirit session with cards? What is the point? What are you hoping to achieve out of that interaction? And then, of course, you want to focus on who you're wanting to communicate with. Perhaps that's more clear with the why you want to communicate, but those don't always have to be the same thing. Why compared to who? Sometimes we can put a general call out and see who responds. Now, that's a bit more tricky to do a reading like that, but just because you're going to have to interpret the messages and relate to who it could be based on the details. You want to allow your cards to be accessible energetically. So, as I said, one of the most common ways to communicate with spirit is simply to ask spirit to help you shuffle, to use synchronicities in order for the spirit to put the deck in the right order. And when I intuitively feel satisfied that the deck is in the right order, that's how I know the spirit is satisfied that the deck's in the right order, and I will begin the reading from there. So I want to allow the cards to be accessible to the spirits as well when I'm doing spirit readings. I want to listen to the spirit and accept the messages that come out. In no way do I want to argue the messages or try to change the interpretations that are received. You really want to be clear with those messages. A lot of times well, sometimes messages that are heard may not be what we're hoping for, or it may be that they are difficult to hear, perhaps. When you're finding out someone's state of energy after they've passed away, there could be a lot of meaning, a lot of depth in that. And so sometimes we don't want to hear messages that are difficult or hard to comprehend, perhaps. So we have to be able to accept the messages. In no way do we want to try and change the interpretation of what Spirit is trying to tell us. We also want to respond to Spirit and be grateful for those interactions. It is not an easy thing to do, not only for us as the living, but from my understanding in doing it, it's not easy for the Spirit as well. It's a lot of work, a lot of energy that goes into communicating, and that's probably why it comes across so subtle usually. But being able to respond to Spirit. When I receive a message, I need to acknowledge the message that was received and how I perceived it and how that's connected and what insight did that bring to me based on that loved one or that spirit. And then I want to be grateful for that interaction. It's really important to thank spirits for joining, for getting involved, for helping out, for giving those messages. Like I said, it's not an easy thing, and so there's effort involved, and so just to be grateful for that. And then it's really important to ground and cleanse after. You really want to make sure that you can get yourself back into a state of mind, that you're going to close down that connection when you're ready to, and that that spirit understands the access that was given and when you're finished your session. And that brings me to an important topic. Depending on the objective of your reading, you could set up protections for the session itself. And we're actually going to get into that discussion a little bit at the next Tarot Talk topic when we're going to talk about some protections. How do you set up protections in order to do readings when you feel it's necessary? And so we're going to talk about that and when protections may be necessary. So if anyone has any questions whatsoever about this Tarot Talk topic, please feel free to put them in the chat. I do see people saying hello. Hello, everybody. I'm very grateful to see some viewers on already, and perfect timing because we will get into those free readings. Anyone who's interested to receive a free reading, please just write interested in the chat and I will watch for that. I do have a list that I will add you to. Each reading takes about 15 minutes or so to get through, 10 or 15 minutes. So be patient. If you're, fourth on the list and we're just getting started, you may have an hour wait or almost an hour wait before I get to your reading. Certainly, I see some interest coming in. First one that I saw was Lindsay, so I'll add you to my list. And Elizabeth. And then Jeff. So I have 3 more spots available if anyone's interested and would like to join. I have Lindsay, Elizabeth, and Jeff. And I will be watching for anyone else who's interested to receive a free reading during this broadcast. Just simply let me know that you're interested and I will add you to the list. I should also mention that I am capping tonight's readings to 6 free distant readings. As I said, each reading takes about 15 minutes, and so I try to keep the broadcast to at a maximum of 2 hours. I think that's reasonable. And so I only offer 6 free readings. Anyone who requests a reading and doesn't get into that list, you'll automatically be included into the free draw that's happening on April 15th. So just let me know. Hi, Susan. Definitely I'll give you a reading. So nice to see you here. And hello, everybody else. I do see a lot of people saying hello. I really appreciate you being here. So I'm going to get started with Lindsay's reading. Lindsay, if you're available, let me know if you're on the call and what your topic or question may be for the cards itself. Now, I always start with a 1-card impression pull from my Rider-Waite-Smith deck. This is my oldest deck. I do have a really solid relationship with this deck, and so I like to do my impression pulls from this deck. So what I'm really doing is I'm connecting with your energy, Lindsay, while you're on the call, and I'm charging the deck with that intention of giving me the impression that I sense from that energy. And then I'll move to this deck, my Morgan Greer deck, and that's when you'll have an opportunity to present a topic or question. Now, I do see here you're hoping for a general reading, so that's perfect. For you, Lindsay, I get the Seven of Wands. It did not come out reversed. Here's what the card looks like. Now, 7 in numerology is usually about, like for me, it stands for like spiritual development and growth. And you can see here, wands are actions. And the actions that this person is going through, their actions are up against all these other actions. Almost like they're holding their ground, or they're holding their own. And I feel like for you, Lindsay, this is like in your energy where you may have this action that you need to take, and you're going to have to like hold your ground. And others may not understand that action, and that's okay because it's important to you. You can see here, and what's really standing out for me is the facial expression on the character itself. They're not going through an easy time. This is a difficult challenge. They're up against these other actions, and they are holding their own. So it's almost like they're the king of the castle, so to speak, keeping everyone else off the hill. I hope that that makes sense. Let me know how that resonates for you, Lindsay. I'm going to start with your general reading. It makes sense. Okay, thank you for that confirmation, Lindsay. I feel like I almost had a jumper card there for a moment. Now, jumper cards are when cards just fall out, and they're usually really important messages that need to be heard. And if you're interested in that, I did talk about it in a previous Tarot Talk topic way back when. You can always look through the history of Tarot Talk episodes. Now, for you, Lindsay, I have 2 higher arcana cards bookending this reading. They are all reversed. And so the first thing that comes to mind is that not only is this a very guided reading, but it's also a very important messages in here, and this is not an easy trek to take. Okay, I'm going to start in the middle and work my way to those more important messages. This is the 7 of Pentacles, and the 7 of Pentacles often represents work that needs to be completed. You can see here when it's not reversed that it's depicting a farmer, and the pentacles represent our needs and what we want for ourselves, so money and health. And what it's showing here is that in order to gain that prosperity, the farmer has to plant the seed, has to sow the seed, has to take care of the seed, has to nurture the plant as it grows, has to put in all that hard work before he's able to harvest and reap the reward. And so that's what this card often represents. There's all this work to be done to reap the reward later. Now, here's the concern, Lindsay. When this card is reversed, it means that the work isn't getting done. Okay, so as soon as the work starts to get done, this is going to flip around and you're going to have all this work to do. In the meantime, it looks like this. So this is usually the indication of something that could be holding you back from getting started, perhaps, and as soon as you solve that problem or fix that, whatever's holding you back, this card's going to flip around and you're going to be getting onto that work. But in the meantime, it looks like this. Now, the other 2 cards, I feel like they're speaking together, and they are reversed. And we have the Lover's card and the High Priestess. Here's what the cards look like normally. Now, they are reversed, and so I'm just going to go one by one, even though they're speaking together. The Lover's card reversed, this could be like a relationship that's really struggling, or that this has caused some sort of indifference in some way. Now, the Lover's card sometimes comes up for like if we love a hobby or we have a certain thing we love or things like that. I definitely get the sense that this is related to that, but related to a person as well. Now, the High Priestess reversed is a very frustrating message to get in this kind of reading, because what it's really saying is that, Lindsay, if you were told how to be guided through this, you wouldn't do it. So it's almost like for you, Lindsay, the High Priestess is telling you that you have to do this on your own. You have to solve this for yourself. If you were told what to do, you may not learn the lessons that you needed to along the way. You're going to skip an important process perhaps, and you won't actually achieve the goal. So just following your own guidance and intuition is really important when that card comes out reversed. Now, as I said, when I look at these three cards together, I see a difficulty. I see a difficult path. I don't think this is the easiest trek to take. I'm wondering how I can expand on this further using another deck. I'm thinking, based on how this is being interpreted, I would like to try and use my Zen deck. Now, this deck works really well to give insight on how we interact with the energies around us. And I think that may be helpful given where you are now with this up against, energies and actions up against your own actions. I'm wondering if this will help with some of that interaction in itself. So I'm just going to charge this deck with the intention. I'm going to pull 3 cards from this deck, and we're going to look at how those cards speak to each other to get that message. And based on our Tarot Talk topic, I can share that this is more of a dynamic reading because I'm not using a structured spread or layout. Even though we're not communicating with spirits right now. Now, the 3 cards that have come out are really interesting. We have, again, 2 higher arcanas bookending a suit. This is the same pattern that we saw in the reading, and now we're getting the same pattern in the advice. So I really feel like this advice and the reading are going to go hand in hand. Now, I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to start in the center and work my way to those more important messages. This is the Creator card. It's considered the king of fire or king of actions. This would be a wand card in a traditional structured tarot deck. In this tarot deck, it's all about taking that action that you need. It's about doing what you need for yourself. When you think about the kings in court in tarot, they are the decision makers. The king and the queen are the ones making the decisions, and those decisions get passed down to the page. The page delivers those decisions, and the knights take the action and make the job done. In this regards, the king of action is really about important decisions that need to be made. So what this is really saying as advice is just take the right action, do what you need to do. It could be saying to, stop delaying and turn this card around and get the work done, perhaps. But it's really saying, like, get up and go. It's time to take action. This is like masculine energy of action. Like, you need to go forward with this. Now, the cards that are side by side, I do feel like they speak together, and so I'm going to talk to them together in the same way that these cards did. They speak together. It has something to do with this disconnect, and if you were told how to resolve it, you wouldn't get there. In terms of the advice for that is to have courage and see yourself making a breakthrough. Break through the wall that's holding you back. This is the breakthrough card, and it's really representing that. Finding your inner power and just breaking through the walls that are stopping you. And then the courage card. It's really about doing what you need to do to get through it. I think what this is really saying, Lindsay, is that if you stick to your courage and you sit in your power, you're going to make the right decisions that you need to for yourself moving forward. And that's really the advice that shows here. Even though this is a difficult situation to tend to, I think you've got it. You've got this. Based on the advice that's come out, I think there are opportunities that you can get through this based on your courage and that developmental breakthrough. Now, that is the 11th card, and the number is really standing out for me. 11 is really like a teacher number in intuition and knowing yourself and self-development and spirituality. So I feel like for you, this is just speaking to the strength that you are achieving by going through this experience. Oh, thank you so much for that comment, Lindsay, that you're always amazed on how I'm spot on. I really appreciate that affirmation, just knowing that I'm on the right track in this reading. Do you have any questions about what's come up here so far? Now, when I look at this reading as a whole, Lindsay, just off the top of my head, as I look at this, you have a wand, a pentacle, wands, and the rest are higher arcana. 4 higher arcana cards on the table at the end of the reading usually speaks to grounding that's required, so I feel like you're headed towards this grounding. And the only suit that, well, the 2 suits that aren't showing up are cups and swords. And so I feel like those are not messages that you need to hear based on this topic that's on the table. So I think you have your emotions in check regarding this, and you're in the right mindset. So you're not needing to receive messages about that. You're needing to receive messages about what actions to take and what you need for yourself. Just looking for some messages. No questions. Oh, perfect. Oh, thank you for that, Lindsay. Yeah, I appreciate you, your message there saying that this is very accurate. So I'll just decharge the cards, and then I'll move to Elizabeth. Elizabeth, if you're available. I do hope that that was helpful, Lindsay. Elizabeth, if you're on the call, just let me know if you have a topic or question you'd like me to focus on. Otherwise, it can be left general. The messages that are left general, quite often the messages that we need to hear are what show up on the table, but it's up to you if you want to try and refine what you're looking for. You're very welcome, Lindsay. I can do a general, for sure. So I'm always going to start with that 1 card impression pull. It's just going to tell me where you're sitting energetically in the moment, Elizabeth. And then I'll move to that general reading on the Morgan Greer deck. Now, the first thing that I noticed, Elizabeth, when I'm trying to connect with your energy is that the cards are kind of hitting each other rigidly. It almost feels like a confidence thing, like you could have more confidence than what you do. And the card that I get is the 2 of Cups reversed. Now, this often means that a partnership has gone astray somehow, or a disagreement with somebody else that you've been communicating with. Now, this is usually a partnership, not necessarily a lover's quarrel, so it could be like a business partnership, or it could be an acquaintance or a neighbor, friend. It could be somebody that is significant, but it's really talking about this partnership that doesn't seem to be working out in the way that you expected. Do you know where that's relating to, or where you're resonating with that? Let me know. I'm just going to continue with that general reading. These feel like 2 different types of people, possibly with different mindsets. And what's standing out for me is their head decorations, or their head garments. It's standing out for me that they're so different from each other. Different colors, different types of flower. One has flowers, one has leaves. The differences between them are what's standing out. And so I think what you're really up against are 2 different mindsets. There's a few possibilities there. Let's see if the general reading narrows that down for you, Elizabeth. I do feel like it's more about stubborn thinking or conflictual thinking than it is about some sort of action. So like a mindset, or like that's different than yours. Now, the three cards that have come out are really interesting. I have a Higher Arcana card and two suits. The two suits are cups. This Two of Cups came out in your impression poll, and then in your reading itself, you have all cups with a Higher Arcana. And I'm going to start there. The Higher Arcana card is the Strength card. It did not come out reversed. And so for you, Elizabeth, I feel like you're in tune with this inner strength, and you can rely on that inner strength to get through this or deal with this. You are a strong person, and I'm not talking about physical strength. I'm talking about like emotional, mental. You can see here that this person, the character, doesn't have that lion in a headlock. They're using internal strength to soothe and calm that beast. Excuse me. And so I feel like that's what we're talking about, is your internal strength. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. My throat starts to get dry once I get into the talking. So I apologize. So this card often shows up on the table, Elizabeth, for somebody who needs to hold on to that strength, that you can depend and rely on that inner strength that you have. Now, the two cups that have come out, this is the Nine of Cups, and 9 in numerology is about reaching the destination, getting to the goal, the final outcome of whatever you've been going through. And when you have 9 cups, it often represents putting those cups in a row. You can see here that this person has organized their cups. The cups represent emotion. And so when we put emotions in a row, it often means that we understand our emotions, that we've come to an understanding in some way. And that's what this card is representing. I think you know exactly how you feel. You have your emotions organized and sorted out on this topic. But what do you do with that? And that's the next card. This is the Knight of Cups. Knights are often about action taking. These are the action takers, and this is emotional action. So even though you have this strength and you have your emotions all together, you now then need to like get on and take that action. And that's what's really being said here. I think it's showing that you can have the confidence to move forward in this. Don't let this bother you, perhaps. This quarrel or different mindsets that could be like butting heads in some way. Does that make sense for you? I'm wondering how I can extend on this further. It's really interesting because in your impression of what's happening for you now in your energy, you have this like disagreement sort of energy happening now, and then these cards are quite confident and quite secure, and they feel quite powerful to move forward. And so I just feel like for you, Elizabeth, you should probably have confidence in yourself, knowing that you have that internal strength and that your emotions are in check. It makes some sense. Okay, good. I'm glad. If you're wondering where this connects, and you don't quite see this, what do I want to call it? I don't want to call it a disagreement, but it's like when two people don't see eye to eye. I think maybe it could either be that you have the confidence that it just like water off a duck's back, right? Like it's something that just wasn't going to bother you, or that you weren't going to let bother you, perhaps. I'm wondering if I can expand on this further. There's a lot of emotion involved here, even though you have your emotions in check. I'm wondering what you need for yourself out of this. And so I'm going to ask my heart chakra deck that. I'm hoping that it'll help us narrow down a little bit more. And just to mention to everyone who's watching still, I do have 2 other spots available for free readings. If anyone else is interested, just write interested in the chat and I will try and watch for that. Now, I got 2 higher arcana cards here with a suit. The suit is a wand. I'm going to start there. I feel like the higher arcana cards are speaking together. This is the 5 of fire, 5 of action. The card looks like this. And it's called Feeling Alone card. Now, 5 in numerology is usually about a choice. When we think about going from 1 to 10, 5 is like the halfway point. We have to decide if we continue on through that path or do we start at the beginning, because it's the same distance to get to either. So I feel like for you, Elizabeth, you may be at a point of choosing or a path to take. Now, feeling alone, you may feel like this is all on you to do. What's standing out for me, though, is the lantern that the person is holding. And I feel like for you, it's talking about like guided light. And what's also standing out for me is the moon that's up in the top here, the moon phase, the full moon that's peeking out of the clouds. And whenever the moon stands out for me, it just tells me that the person that I'm reading for has an intuitive sense. So you can trust that intuition, those inkling feelings that you get inside, wondering like this feels off or this feels right, or follow that intuition. I have a feeling that because these 2 symbols are standing out for me on this card, that intuition could be your guide. I'm just reading the messages. Hi, Annette. Absolutely. I've added you to the list. So in the list of readings, I'm doing Elizabeth's reading now, then I have Jeff, Susan, then Annette, and I have 1 free space available. So Elizabeth, in your reading, the 2 higher arcana cards that I received are they look like this. And it is the chakra, sacral chakra and control card. And the suggestion is that you are in control. If this card came out reversed, it would be the opposite of that, like you've lost control or that you need to take control. It's saying you are in control. And so just knowing that you're in control of this, that's probably where the confidence is coming from, and that you have this strength. I feel like these 2 cards are connected. And this sacral chakra being reversed. Now, the sacral chakra is often about when we have those gut feelings, when we get nervous, when we feel anxious perhaps. And when it's reversed, what this deck is telling us is that that chakra is imbalanced somehow. And so you have to find the balance of that. For example, if we allow ourselves to feel too nervous, too anxious, that's going to prevent us from finding or seeing opportunities. We're not going to get involved if we're nervous or anxious, or we might even not even get involved at all. If we're not anxious enough, if we're not nervous enough, we may be throwing ourselves out into opportunities that don't help us or don't serve us at all, or that we may be taken advantage of in those opportunities. So finding the right balance of that chakra, your sacred chakra, being balanced, not too wide and not too closed, and that whatever that perfect balance is for you is what this card is suggesting you need to do. Find the balance in your sacral chakra. What makes you nervous? Why are you feeling anxious about anything? Try to analyze that and bring yourself back into control, because you have that control. With these 2 cards speaking side by side, I get the sense that you're already possibly doing this, but there's this underlying feeling that may be, I don't want to say interfering, but helping you sort that out for yourself. I do hope that that makes sense, Elizabeth, and that you're able to resonate with that. Let me know if you have any questions. when I look at this reading as a whole, you have 3 higher arcana cards, 2 up and 1 reversed. And quite often for me, 3 is about communication. I feel like for you, Elizabeth, there could be some spirit communication in this, that you may not be receiving all of the messages involved. Now, a lot of cups and some action, but no swords or pentacles. So again, I feel like you have what you need in terms of what this is about, and you have your head in the right mindset. What you really need to focus on, perhaps, is the action that you need for yourself. I do hope that this makes sense and is helpful. That makes sense. Okay, thank you for that confirmation, Elizabeth. I appreciate that. You're very welcome. So I'm going to put these cards away. I'm just going to decharge the decks, and then I'll move on to Jeff's reading. Jeff, if you're still available, let me know. And if you have a certain topic or subject you'd like to ask the cards or have the reading about, or it can be left general. And after Jeff, I'll have Susan and then Annette, and then I have one more spot available. If anyone has requested a chat and you haven't heard your name, please let me know and I will add you to the list. I know one time I did a live and I wasn't receiving the messages. I should also mention that the messages sometimes are delayed. When I re-watch the episode afterwards, or the broadcast afterwards, when it's saved to the website, I've noticed that there is sometimes a 20 to 30 second delay between the times that the message has been entered into the chat and by the time that I see it come up on my end. So just be patient with me. I will try to get through the messages as they come up. Oh, okay. Thank you, Elizabeth, for explaining that. I appreciate that. I'm glad that he's with you when his device died. I'm assuming it's a battery issue. I hope that the device is okay. So I will definitely do a general reading for Jeff. I'm going to start with a 1-card impression pull, as I have tonight, and then I'll move to the Morgan Greer deck. Jeff, for you, I get the Sun card. It did not come out reversed. And so quite often the Sun card, it comes out for someone who's going through a process of healing. There's definitely some healing going on for you, and you're in that process. If this card came out reversed, it would tell me that you're having trouble with that healing, or that there's some disruption in your path of healing, or that the healing may be taking a lot longer than you anticipated or expected. So just know that you're on the right track. You're doing the right things for yourself to gain this healing. What's standing out for me, though, is the little child on the back of the horse. This is about vulnerability when that stands out for me. And so I just want you to take that into consideration, that if you're feeling vulnerable and that has to do with the healing, I think you're going to eventually be able to put that behind you, because you're on the right track with this healing journey that you're on. Can you resonate with that? And I'm just going to move on to your general reading. Oh, thank you, Annette, for that. Feel free to send anybody to my website if you'd like, staffordtarot.com. It has a whole lot of information about who I am and what I do, and the upcoming events that I'll be at, and all sorts of information. Okay, thank you for that, Elizabeth. That makes sense. Now, 3 cards have come out. I have a court, a suit, and a higher arcana card. Even though this is the more important message, I'm going to start at the suit, move to the court, and then to the higher arcana. I just feel drawn to this reading in that way. Now, this is the Two of Wands. And my phone is not charging. I'm about to lose my camera. I'm going to fix this real quick. Put this reading on hold for just a moment so I don't lose my camera, because that would be bad. Hopefully that does it. Okay, if I lose you, I apologize right away. I really hope that that doesn't happen. I'm going to continue with this reading. I have 2 other readings left, so I don't know why it's doing that. I'm just going to look at my phone for a sec and see why it has gone into low battery state. Okay. My charge cord must not be working. This is frustrating. So I'm going to try and get through these readings if I can. If I disconnect, I will come back on with a new charge cord, so watch for that, okay? Just a warning, heads up. So with the Two of Wands in this reading, wands represent actions that need to be taken, and 2 is a choice between actions, and you're making a choice on the actions that you need to take. Now, what this is telling me, notice how he's got a crystal ball in one hand and he's chosen an action in another hand. This means that in order to choose the action, you need to know how this is going to proceed forward. You need to understand what is going to be the outcome before you make the decision. Now, the next card that I want to look at is the King of Pentacles. I feel like for you, you're sitting in the king's position. You're making decisions about what you need for yourself. And these are financial decisions. The coin is really standing out for me. And also the horns and headdress is also standing out for me. So I feel like these could be financial decisions that are related to health or have something to do with what you need for yourself in terms of just needs, and I feel like health may be connected to this, but it's more connected to prosperity. Let me know how that resonates with you, Jeff. And that leads me to the Judgment card. I think, Jeff, you may be hard on yourself. You may have a lot of self-judgment. If it was this way, it would be like all this judgment around you and all these people judging you. But I feel like the pressure may be coming from you, not necessarily them. That's a more important message in this reading so far. And so for you, Jeff, I feel like you want to make sure that you're not being too hard on yourself. Give yourself a little bit of a break. You're making these strong decisions, and the decisions that you make, or the actions that you take, are going to determine your future. So I really understand why you could be in that process or in that state of mind. Just know that whatever this is about, it's bringing you to a state of healing. I do hope that this makes sense, Jeff, and that you resonate with these messages. Oh, okay, thank you for that, Elizabeth. You're mentioning that Jeff says, I know the feeling. Okay, so he knows what I'm talking about. That's good. I'm going to look at where I can move from here. Given that there is this healing going on, and that these are really a personal journey that you may be going through, I'm wondering if I can go back to my heart chakra deck in terms of what you need for yourself. This deck does give great advice, and insight and perspectives on what we need for ourselves. So I'm just going to focus on that for your reading, and we'll see what kind of insight it brings. Now, the 3 cards that have come out are interesting. I have 2 higher arcana cards and a suit. I'm going to start at the suit and work my way to those more important messages. This is the helpless and hopeless card. Now, this is not saying that you are helpless and hopeless. This is advice. What this is really saying is you shouldn't feel this way. Notice how he's facing the light, and there's this beautiful sunrise in the distance.
That's what's catching my attention in this card. It's about you walking into towards the sunrise. Suns are often about healing. See the pattern? And so for you, I feel like the advice is to make sure that you are not feeling hopeless and helpless in this. Um, I think you need to stand strong and stand in your power. This is the not release card when it comes out like this. Normally the release card looks like this, and it's usually saying, when it looks like this, it's usually saying we have to let go, we have to release, we have to, um, a lot of times when we release, it brings healing. For you though, Jeff, it's saying not to release. I think that there are certain things about this that you want to hold on to that are meaningful, that will help you with the healing if you don't forget, so to speak, or don't release it. I think this may be experience, perhaps, that you have that could be helpful to you, and you don't want to let that go or release it. Now, the chakra, sacral chakra card has come up again, only this time it's not reversed. And so for me, I feel like what this is really saying is that you're in the process of making this balance on your sacred chakra. You're balancing these nerves and anxiety and feelings that you have in your gut. Your gut's telling you things, and you're starting to listen. You're creating that balance. So I feel like there's some really positive messages in this for you, Jeff, moving forward. Not only are you in a state of healing, but I think you have an understanding of what that healing means for you and what serves you and what doesn't, and you don't need to release what serves you. Hi, welcome, Diana. Welcome to see you. Or Diane, sorry. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Does this make sense, Jeff? Are there any questions about this, the way that the cards have come out so far? I have one spot left, so Diane, you're perfect timing. You've taken my last spot for the reading. You will be after Annette, who will be after Susan, who will be after Jeff's reading, which is on the table now. Okay, thank you for that, Elizabeth. Just confirming from Jeff that this makes sense. I appreciate that confirmation. No questions. Okay, thank you so much. I do hope that this was helpful, Jeff. I'm just going to decharge the cards, and then I'll be moving to Susan. So Susan, let me know if you're still on the call and if you have a question or topic you'd like me to focus on, or it can be left general. Like I said earlier, quite often when readings are left general, the messages that need to be heard are what show up on the table, but it's up to you, Susan, if you want to try and refine what you're looking for from the reading itself. You're welcome, Diane. Just to give you a little bit of a heads up though, Diane, that each reading is about 10 or 15 minutes long. And so I will work on Susan and then Annette and then you, Diane. So there's going to be about a half an hour wait. I hope that's okay. Hi, Susan. Glad you're here. Perfect. And I will do a general reading. Absolutely. So I'm going to start with my one card impression pull from this deck. I'm just connecting with your energy. And when I intuitively feel like I should stop, that's when I know that your card is ready. Now, I'm getting a weird sense from this deck, Susan. As I shuffle the deck, I feel like in some ways you're sort of your worst enemy, that you may be working against yourself in some way or another. Let me know if that makes sense to you, okay? And the card that I get for you is the Lover's card reversed. Now, what stands out for me in this card is the clouds that are between the couple. It's all about the clouds, and that's a different association for me with this card. If it was the people standing out, it would try and tell me that it's about the people. When it's reversed like this, it means that if the people were standing out, it would be like disruption within these lovers' relationships. But because the clouds are standing out, I feel like there's some sort of cloudiness, like you're not getting something that you love. This could be not necessarily a relationship, but it could be something that, like a hobby that you love, or an activity that you love, or something that you're prevented from doing or having. I feel like it's more that kind of level of the Lover's card, not necessarily involving lovers. Does that make sense for you, Susan? It being reversed, that's where I get the sense that this is something that's being held back, or that you're unable to achieve, or experience, or have something that you love. For some reason, it almost feels like a hobby or activity. Yes. Okay. Thank you for that confirmation there, Susan. I'm going to continue on with your general reading. I'm going to do a 3-card pull with this deck, and we're just going to read those cards together to get those messages. Now, 2 cards are really standing out for me. These 2 are higher arcana cards. One's reversed, one's not, yet they're speaking together almost in conflict. And so I'm going to talk about that. But first, I'm going to move to the suit card. This is the 10 of Wands. And you can see here, Susan, that when you are reflected as this person here, the amount of tasks and actions that this person has to take, they are overwhelmed with the amount of wands they have to carry. This often is a reflection of someone who may be overwhelmed with the amount of things they need to do. So you may be feeling like that. I get the sense it's connected to this. So like where you're at now, and with this not achieving something that you want, there's so much to do to get it, perhaps, and that could seem overwhelming. Now, the 2 cards that are speaking together are the Star card reversed and the Devil card upright. I'm going to show them here in the way that they've come out. I'm going to start with the Star card. The Star card reversed, this does not mean that you don't have a special power within you. The Star card often means when we have this bright light inside us and we can shine that light real bright. It's usually representative of a skill or an ability or a power of some kind of you, like you are a powerful person. When the Star card comes out on the table, whether it's reversed or not, it tells me that you have this skill or quality. You have this light inside you, and you can shine that light. When it's reversed, you may not realize or even think that that light's there. You might need to believe that you have this inside you, because it's there. You can believe that it's there, or this card would not show up on the table. So just trust in yourself, Susan. When you do realize that this inner ability is in you, this card will flip around and you'll be shining that light. You'll be sitting in that power. But in the meantime, it looks like this. Now, with this not believing in yourself, of how strong or how capable you are, there's an adversary. And what's really standing out for me in this is the red new moon in the background, not the necessary like demon imagery. Now, don't fret. The devil card does not mean like the Christian devil. Absolutely not. What it really means is that you're up against an adversary, and because it's the red new moon that in the background that stands out for me, I think you may be the adversary actually that you're up against, Susan. And so I think the adversary may have to do with believing in yourself. If you believe in yourself, both of these cards are going to flip. You're going to defeat this adversary and you're going to be sitting in your power. But in the meantime, it looks like this: you're holding yourself back. I'm just checking to see if I didn't miss any messages here. So I'm going to look at how to expand on this further, Susan. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Susan, for that confirmation. I appreciate that message. I'm just thinking, I'm wondering if I should move to my Witch's Wisdom deck. just given that this seems like such an in-depth reading, um, if you feel like you're the adversary and what's holding you back and believing in yourself when you're overwhelmed with these actions or decisions that have to be made, I'm going to ask my Witch's Wisdom deck to pull out those deep messages that you need to hear. I'm going to leave this as a general reading. I'm going to pull general advice reading. I'm going to pull 3 cards from this deck, and we're going to look at how those cards speak to each other. But they should they should, what's the word I'm looking for? They should point out the deep messages that you need to hear. This deck often does that. It really digs deep for those messages. And I should warn you that sometimes the messages can be a little harsh. But I think given the situation that you're up against, according to these cards, that may be necessary. And the 3 cards. Now, this goes hand in hand with what I was saying. I just have to say that right from the start. So I think I'm pretty close on this. I'm going to work my way towards this higher arcana. You have 2 suits and a higher arcana. This is the 9 of Earth reversed. The card normally looks like this. And the 9 of Earth represents where you fit in the pack. If you look at life like a wolf pack, where do you fit? Do you see yourself as the leader in the front? Or do you see yourself as the guide on the side? Or do you see yourself as the straggler at the back? Where do you fit within the wolf pack? With this card being reversed, it means that you may not know where you fit within that structure. So are you the leader or are you the follower? And it's hard to know for you because of maybe it's because of this confidence thing and how you hold yourself back. Let me know if you resonate with that, Susan. But I feel like you could be the leader in this pack, where if this card turned around, you'd know your position, you'd know where you sit, and you'd be able to go forward leading everyone in the direction that you need to. But in the meantime, it looks like this. Now, the 2 of water looks like this, and it often represents someone who you could reach out to. There is a communication that can be made, a partnership perhaps, but someone can help you with what you're going through. So just keep that in mind, Susan, that you're not alone and that you can depend on who this other person is that you can rely on. You may possibly meet someone who can help you, or they may already be in your life, but you need to realize that they're there to help. Now, the higher arcana card is the Guardian card. The Guardian card is usually about sitting in our grounding, understanding what we need, and then making that happen. It's about being protective of yourself and your world. And that's where I feel like there's this confidence. If you ask me, these 2 cards are speaking together. The Star card, the Guardian. Possibly these 2 cards are speaking together in terms of like the partnership and everything that needs to be done. And then these 2 cards being the adversary and not seeing where you fit if you're the adversary. So trust in yourself, Susan. I think you can trust in yourself more. I think you have the Star card on the table, which would represent that you have what it takes. You can do this. You got this. I do hope that this was helpful, Susan. Feel free to, if you have any questions, to just enter them in the chat. I'll start decharging these cards and putting them away. I do hope that this was helpful and made sense. When I look at this reading as a whole, you have 4 higher arcana cards showing up on the table. 2 are reversed, 2 are not. And I just think that, again, it's like making decision in terms of finding that grounding for you. All good. Thank you. Okay, you're welcome. Thank you for that, Susan. You're very welcome. So I'm just going to decharge the deck and Then I will be ready for Annette. Annette, if you're still on the call, let me know. And oh, there you are. If you still have, if you have a question or topic you'd like me to focus on or be left general. And in the meantime, I will start your one card impression pull. Yes, Susan, thank you for that question. I will be at the Renaissance Fair in Niagara Falls coming up towards the summer, the end of the summer. I will also be at the Witches Market in St. Catharines on Saturday, April 13th. And I will also be at the Pagan Fest in Niagara Falls as well at Fireman's Park. So I'm looking forward to those events. I haven't been in Niagara Falls for a while. I like going there. Such great people. Thank you for that question. So Annette, there you are. General, I guess. Okay, certainly. I'm sorry to hear that you've had a bit of run of bad luck. Let's see what your reading says in terms of insight on that. I am going to keep this reading general as you've requested. And so I'm just going to start with a one card impression pull, which is the Wheel of Fortune card reversed. You mentioned having bad luck. Well, having the Wheel of Fortune card reversed doesn't necessarily mean bad luck. What it means is that your good luck is down the road and you're going to have some patience. You're going to need some patience as time is required to reach the good luck that's coming to you. If it was this way, it would mean the Wheel of Fortune being not reversed, that you are coming into that luck, that things may be changing for you. It doesn't mean that things aren't going to change for you when it's reversed. It just means that it may take a little bit more time than you would have hoped. I hope that that makes sense for you. Annette, just keep in mind that it does offer hope down the line. If you so don't feel like don't fret that there isn't light at the end of the tunnel, because this is telling you there is. So that may be a difficult thing for you to hear if you don't feel like you have patience, and this is telling you to be patient. um, it if you can find things to keep yourself busy towards the goal in the meantime, that may be helpful, because even though the fortune or good luck is down the road a little bit, there could be things that you could do to help that along. That's good. Thank you for that, Annette. So I'm just going to focus on your general. Okay, and the three cards that have come out are interesting. Two are reversed, one's not. We have two suits and a higher arcana. I feel drawn to starting at the more important message this time. The higher arcana is really shouting at me. And then I will go towards the suits. So the higher arcana card looks like this. It is the reversed Nine of Pentacles. Normally the card looks like this, and it often represents putting your life together in the way that you would like to see fit. So you can see here this person has their fancy robe on, they have like this exotic pet, they're in this fancy garden, and they have this lovely fruit, and this is the way that they saw their life put together, and this is what makes them happy. When it's reversed, it means that you're not there yet, that you're still in the process of putting your life together in the way that you'd like to see fit. Now, what I think speaks well for this card, Annette, is that you're on your way, right? As soon as you get there and you have all the pieces of life that you'd like, this card will flip around and it'll look like this. But in the meantime, until you take those actions and put your life together in the way that you'd like, it looks like this. Now, don't fret. It doesn't mean that you're not going to put your life together. It just means that you're in that process now. You're making the decisions that need to be made now that are going to lead towards your future. This is the Five of Cups reversed. And what this often means is you have this loss that you can now put behind you. You've done it, you've been through it, and you learned from it, and now you can put it behind you. If the card came out like this, you'd be sitting in this loss. It would be like a situation happening now that's pulling you down. So just know that if that situation that you've been through is still affecting you, you can find a way of maybe letting that go a little, or not taking on, I don't want to say responsibility for it, but it feels along those lines. Does that make sense for you, Annette? I'm just reading the message that came out there. Sorry for pausing. And the last card is the Ace of Pentacles, and this may be important to the message that you just posted there, Annette. The Ace of Pentacles is often about finding a way of making money or having an opportunity of prosperity. Now, this would be a new opportunity that comes out of nowhere. You can see here that the hand is coming out of the clouds offering the coin. If it was reversed like this, it would mean that there wasn't an opportunity, that you may have missed the opportunity, or that things aren't changing. So just know that there is a change coming, that there is some sort of prosperity heading your way, and it's going to come out of nowhere, and suddenly it's going to be like the answer, it feels like. Now, where I feel this as prosperity is the coin itself is really standing out. So given that you have the Nine of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles here, the beginning of the journey, the end of the journey, it makes sense to me why there's a bit of a wait here, why you need the patience if you still have this journey to go through. If you feel like there's something from your past that's holding you back or slowing you down, that may be where you want to start processing it, so that you can actually let it go and not have it hold you back anymore. I'm wondering how I can expand on this reading further. Um, I'm just looking at my decks and what is calling out to me most. Um, I'm going to look at my pagan deck. I think that this would be helpful. This pagan deck often gives great examples of creating balance in what we need for our personal lives versus another aspect. So like work versus personal, or ritual versus personal, or spiritual versus personal, or religious versus personal, etc. So I'm going to try to apply that to this in what you're going through in terms of waiting for this fortune. Awesome. Thank you for that confirmation, Annette, that you understand this a lot. I'm glad that this is resonating for you, and I do hope that this insight is helpful. I'm going to focus on this deck. I'm going to pull 3 cards from this deck, and we're just going to look at how those cards speak to each other. And I'm asking this deck to explain the balance that's required. So this should give us sort of the messages that you need to hear for yourself. Oh, that was a weird shuffle, almost like they wanted to be in a specific order. And the 3 cards that have come out are really interesting. We have a Higher Arcana, a Court card, and a Suit. Now, I'm going to start with the Suit card. This is the 4 of Cups. And the 4 of Cups often represents what we know we have, and then wondering what if we had something different. I like to call this the what if card for that reason, because you can see here this person has 3 cups on their picnic cloth there, and then they have this 4th cup kind of coming out of nowhere, as if they're pondering, hey, I have this, but what if I did that differently, or what if that happened differently, what would I have now? It's about looking at the possibilities. What if? If it was reversed, it would be saying, cut it out, stop saying what if. And so I really feel like the advice here is to ponder your options. Make sure that you can see what if. What are the changes that you need to make? What if you did those changes? How would it look? The Elder of Pentacles reversed. Now, the elder is usually someone we can look up to in terms of having that experience and being able to guide us. When it's reversed, it's really saying that you don't have that guide, that it's really up to you. You're like the elder that needs to make these decisions. Pentacles are often about finances and prosperity or health. I get the sense this is about prosperity. Not only is the coin standing out for me, but their necklaces and jewels are also standing out for me. So that tells me that confirmation this is about prosperity, and that you may need to flip that around in order to stand in that position, to make the decisions for yourself. I think you have the experience you need to make these decisions moving forward. And then the Judgment card reversed. I don't think that there's I think that you may feel judged based on people around you, perhaps. I think you want to be careful not to be too hard on yourself with this card being reversed. Annette, you want to make sure that you have your mind in the right mindset to move forward. Don't be hard on yourself in terms of what you've been through in the past. I do hope that this is helpful. Yes, I agree. I think you could be the elder if you flip this card around. Trust the experience that you've been through and that you have the wisdom in what it takes to do this. Absolutely. I do hope that this is helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. And then when I look at this reading as a whole, I see pentacles and cups. Um, and that's it. So not a lot of action, and not a lot of swords. What this means is that you didn't need to hear those messages. You have a good mindset. I think you know what you're thinking. It's just a matter of implementing it. I think you know what it's going to take. I think you know the actions that are required. What you really need to focus on is how it makes you feel, and what you need for yourself. That's good. I'm glad that you don't worry about what others think of you. Too old to care. I love that expression. Um, I just think that you have the experience to be confident. I think that's a better way of putting it. We're only as young as we feel, right? Thank you so much for letting me do your reading for you, Annette. I do hope that that was helpful. I'm going to decharge the deck and put them away. I'm just reading the message that came up. If you need someone else to validate your mindset, that might be why you're not sitting in the elder position. You need to give yourself that confidence and that advice. I think you can give yourself the guidance. Until then, it will be reversed. You're very welcome, Annette. Thank you. Thank you for that message. So I'm just going to decharge, and then I will have a reading for Diane. Diane, if you're still on the call, let me know. And if you have a question or topic you'd like me to focus on, otherwise, as we've seen many times tonight, it can be left general. So while I'm waiting for Diane's message, oh, there it is. Yes, you're here. Perfect. And would you like a topic or question to be asked of the cards, or do you want to do a general, just leave it general for the reading? I'm going to start with a one card impression pull as I have tonight. This is, whoa, I feel like it's already ready. The one card is going to tell me where you're sitting energetically in the moment, Diane. And what I get for you is the Page of Wands reversed. The card looks like this. Normally, when the card looks like this, it's about pondering what actions we're going to take next. You can see here actions represent or are represented by wands in tarot, and you can see that the character is like really pondering that wand. He's really looking at it, wondering, is this the right action that I want to take? And when it's reversed, it means that you're having trouble deciding on the action that needs to be taken. I really think for you, Diane, that this card is really representing not being able to decide the action that needs to be taken next. Does that make sense for you? Absolutely. In fact, that's a recommendation that I like to give. If you have more than one question or you're not sure to narrow down what you want to ask or the subject of, leave it general because quite often the messages that need to be heard are what come up. And so leaving it general will probably tell you what you most needed to hear out of everything you were wondering. So I will do a general reading. I feel like I need to mix this up really well. Okay. And Diane, we have three cards. Really interesting cards have come out. They are all suits. One is reversed, two are not. I'm going to start at the reversal. I feel like there's something about you, Diane, that is coming out from the inside. You are no longer being introverted about what the topic is on the table. So this is something that perhaps when the card looks like this is something that perhaps you had on your mind, you held inside and you kept it to yourself. Very introverted feeling coming from this card. And when it's reversed, it often means that we're no longer doing that. We're coming out of our shell or we're opening up in some way. So I feel like for you, Diane, there's this process happening where you're doing this. You're no longer being introverted. Now, there is a process of loss going on for you in this subject or topic that's on the table. So for you, Diane, I feel like you may need to process some of this loss. This loss is in the moment. If it was reversed, it would mean that you've been through it or not feeling it in the moment. So it either avoided the loss or you've been able to put it behind you. And so with this card being this way, it just speaks to the loss that you're sitting in. You're still feeling this loss. Now, with this card being the Nine of Pentacles, it is not reversed. And so what this tells me is that you're in the process of putting your life together in the way that you'd like to see it, in the way that you see fits for you. This is often a card of empowerment when it comes out this way. It's like achieving what you wanted for yourself, perhaps, or putting things in the right order or going through that process. I'm just reading the messages. Sure. Thank you for that feedback, Diane and Annette. I really appreciate that. I'm wondering how I can extend on this further. Um, I think given that not being able to decide the actions that are needed when this is important to you and there's this loss involved and this opening up, um, I don't know why I'm drawn to my shaman deck, but I am drawn to this deck in this reading. So I'm going to look, I'm going to pull one card from this deck and then I'll choose another card to pull from a different deck. But I think that this may be helpful moving forward. I'm just going to leave this as a general pull from this deck. I'm not even sure why the deck is calling to me. I just feel very drawn, and I'm just going to follow that intuitive sense. And the card that I get for you is the Lower World card. So quite often this card can come out for um, if we have spirit communication around us, if there are these synchronistic messages that you're receiving from spirit, something from the um, the spirit world in some way. Now, 31 in numerology breaks down to a 4. So this is about grounding messages. This is not like um, anything to be worried about or anything that should be feared. It's really connective messages that we're talking about that are coming from this other realm. Now, I'm going to pull one more card from this deck. I feel like this is important. Given how this reading has gone out, this is my Sacred Destiny deck, and it gives great pinpoint on the portion of life path that we're walking. And if I look at what portion of life path this involves, it may give us more understanding as to why this is happening. And the card that I get for you is the Voyage card. This card is often about following your dreams and taking the voyage to do that. You can see in the card that it's very mystical, very whimsical imagery. It's really suggesting that you need to use your imagination to move forward. You need to open up your mind a little bit, maybe, but that you can free your mind by using your imagination. I'm just reading the messages that come up. Now, when I look at this reading as a whole, I think I get the sense that you're headed where you need to be, and that this is really about um, another voyage aside from your own. And I'm not sure how to explain that impression any more clear. I'm really hoping that that makes sense for you, Diane. Um, I really think that you have spirit around you, someone that may be trying to connect with you, sending you little synchronistic messages and letting you know that they're there with you. I just saw the message from Annette asking, will she get what she needs? And that's what this card is all about. It's about how you would like to see your world put together, and that, you know, you're in the process of doing that. So for you, Diane, I do feel like there's hope that you will put your life together in the way that you'd like to see it. That in turn could answer the question, you'll get what you need. It's going to take your effort too to make that happen. If there are any other questions about this reading, please let me know, Diane, or your thoughts or impression of it and how you resonate with these messages. When I look at this reading as a whole, I see swords, I see cups, I see pentacles, I see wands. This has affected every portion of your life, Diane. This whatever is subject is on the table has seeped into all these different areas of your world. I'm just reading the messages that are popping up here. Sorry if I'm pausing. I really feel like for you, Diane, if you can allow this spiritual connection in some way, that may give you some guidance and perspective moving forward, or even some assistance. When I bring this reading right back to the beginning, we're really talking about like in the energy that you are now, and in not being able to decide the actions that you need next. I think once you're able to decide these actions that you need for yourself, this card is going to flip around and you're going to be like off into the right direction. Until you take that action, the card's going to look like this. I do hope that that's helpful. You're very welcome. Oh, thank you for that, Annette, that my reading is so accurate. I really appreciate that feedback. I'm just going to decharge the cards, And those are all the readings that I was offering tonight. Thank you so much for everyone who participated and got involved and allowed me to do your reading for you. If anyone's interested in more reading opportunities, like I said, I do have the free draw happening on April 15th, and my website offers a lot more opportunities for free readings. Just check it out and look at the upcoming events section, as well as other sections in there that talk about different things that are happening too. I'm really sorry, Krista. I only offered 6 readings tonight and I reached the maximum. However, I would like to offer you a chance to win a free reading in my draw. I will definitely take your name down and I will contact you if you're a winner. The draw happens on Monday, April 15th. 2024. It should take place around 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, in which after that draw, I then only contact the winners of the draw. So if you don't receive a message from me, I will contact you through Facebook Messenger, because you got a hold of me on Facebook in my live broadcast. And so if you're a winner, I will contact you through the Facebook Messenger. If you have a different contact that you prefer, just reach out to me at bryantarotreading@gmail.com and let me know what that is, and I will let you know if you're a winner through that source. Anyone who wants to enter the draw, you can always reach out to me directly too, through my website or through my email or through my Facebook, any other social media, or just like a post that mentions the draw, and I will automatically include you for that date. Thank you so much for everyone for participating and coming on and watching me tonight. I do very much appreciate having everyone here to witness these readings, and I find it helpful for people. Just sometimes a quick reading is all people need. Other times, if you're interested to receive more than that, check out my services on my website. I do offer remote readings over Zoom, as well as distant readings, which are recorded and sent to you, as well as in-person readings if you're local in the Guelph and surrounding area. And I also have many events that I go to in the surrounding areas of Ontario. Thank you so much. I do appreciate everybody. Check my website for those updates, and to keep watch for my new podcast, the Multi-Dimensional Discussions. The first episode will be airing shortly. Take good care, everybody. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.